You support Trump?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, guys.
Yeah, I support Trump.
Okay, what about...
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you guys both support Trump, so it looks like we got a 2-for-1. Well, that means what we're going to do a 1v2. Let's just confirm ages real quick. Braden, how old are you?
19.
9. What about you?
Call me Caleb.
Caleb, how old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay, 18 and 19. Sounds good, folks. Well, we're going to try to make this super quick. Both of you guys support Trump. Let me ask you one question. Do you guys think that Donald Trump is a threat to the rule of law?
No, he's all right.
No, I don't believe so, no.
So how could you guys possibly argue that Donald Trump is not a threat to the rule of law, considering the fact that in the last 11 months, he's attacked the rule of law, including the highest order of rule of law, that being the Constitution? An example of this attack on the Constitution would be when he belligerently and intentionally infringed on the 14th Amendment with Executive Order number 14160, designed and targeted to attempt to take constitutional protections like birthright citizenship away from the children born to undocumented immigrants on American soil, even though they've had that right guaranteed to them by the Constitution since the ratification of the 14th Amendment in 1868.
Yeah, I'll let you take this one, buddy.
All right, so listen, I'm not as factual as you are. Okay, I will admit that freely. Okay, you're popping off these numbers over here. All right, look, I stand by my morals and my beliefs. Okay, I truly believe that these illegal immigrants should not be, villainized like they are. Okay, and for Trump to sit here and villainize them over and over and over, all of them, including all of them in all of his statements, that is wrong. Okay, this guy has made mistakes, and he is, he has what do you call
I just want to clarify. You
Yes,
didn't respond to my point at all. I appreciate you for saying that it's.
I'm getting there.
I appreciate you for saying that it's wrong to demonize undocumented immigrants. And actually, the demonization of undocumented immigrants is the rhetorical pathway that he's chosen to try to slightly justify his attack on their constitutional rights. Like he's literally trying to argue that citizens aren't citizens. He's trying to argue that the 14th Amendment doesn't apply to the children.
Rights.
Okay, and you have no brain.
Immigrants have no constitutional rights.
And you have no brain if you think that's true, because they absolutely do.
Illegal immigrants have no constitutional rights.
I could prove to you that you're wrong.
I would love for you to do that.
In 1989, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in the Plyer v. Doe court case that the third section of the 14th Amendment, the Equal Protections Clause, applies to undocumented immigrants in America, meaning that they have equal protections under the law and rights offered and protected by this country. Not to mention that when you read the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment, it becomes clear that you're wrong, because it doesn't say all citizens in America have a right to due process. It says all people in America have a right to due process.
Okay, I think the citizenship was implied there. But just for the sake of this conversation, we can say,
okay, well, guess what?
If the Supreme Court says it, it must be true, right?
Who determines implications? That would be the Supreme Court. And by the way,
absolutely,
I could give you a really big glaring issue in your argument here.
Sure, go ahead. I'm always open.
Are you pro-choice all 9 months in all 50 states?
Absolutely not.
Why? Because fetuses aren't citizens until birth. That's when they get their social security number.
Murder is murder.
Therefore, it's not murder, legally speaking.
It is murder.
I could explain to you why that's not the case under your review if you'd stop interrupting me. It's not murder, legally speaking, in accordance with your view, because it is the case that you think constitutional protections are only given to citizens. Because a fetus is not a citizen, therefore that fetus has no constitutional protection to the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, meaning that there would be no legal barrier to prevent a woman from killing the fetus inside of their womb, since that fetus, under your view, has no legal rights nor any legal protections.
Okay, but where in the Constitution does it say that murder is like, it's not part of the Constitution? Murder is a law. Murder is a moral.
Well, according to you, only citizens have a legal right to life.
No, I did not say that.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so non-citizens have a legal right to life? Well, where do they get that from if it's not the Constitution?
God.
God doesn't give you a legal right to life. He gives you a moral one.
True. My bad.
Right.
Okay.
But and you specifically said that fetuses have a legal right to life.
Well, they should.
Okay, but your argument is that they don't. So you're saying that we should extend constitutional protections to non-citizens since you think that fetuses should have a legal right to life?
Okay, hold on. Whoa. Abortion and illegal immigrants are two completely different subjects. And now you're trying to combine them into one.
But fetuses
By saying fetuses are non-citizens.
But fetuses and undocumented immigrants would exist in the same category under your view of being non-citizens
Not
that do not
necessarily.
have
No,
any
not at all.
constitutional protections.
No, not at all.
Yes, because you told me that the Constitution implies that the rights in which it offers and guarantees to those in which it protects are only protections for citizens. Like, remember when we were talking about the due process clause of the 14th Amendment, and I was going over how it says all people have a right to due process, all people have a right to protection against unjust infringement on their life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And then you said, well, I think what is implied here is that it's just citizens, not people, specifically citizens, meaning that you would be making two categories here, citizens and non-citizens. And if you're in the category of citizens, you have these constitutional protections. If you're in the category of non-citizens, you don't have these constitutional protections.
Okay, well, this is where we get into that gray area between is it a child or is it not? Okay, because people believe, I can tell you believe a fetus is a fetus. It is not a child yet.
But it doesn't matter if it's a child,
right?
It doesn't matter if it's a child. It matters. Oh, but well, then all of a sudden your argument is thrown out the window. Because can we agree that 4-year-old undocumented children are children,
Yeah.
even though they're undocumented?
Yeah, of course.
So therefore, because they're still children, although they're undocumented, they still have constitutional rights and protections due to the fact that they are children, which is your argument in the context of fetuses. So why can't it be my argument in the context of undocumented immigrants?
What? Okay. Whoa, buddy. All right. The Constitution it gives rights to those born in America, correct? It gives rights of citizenship to those born in America, correct?
Well, guess what? First and foremost, no, that's not completely true. But even if you are to operate off the premises that the Constitution only gives rights to those born in America, then you are still, in fact, arguing that I am right when I call Donald Trump a threat to the Constitution, because he specifically tried to take constitutional rights away from those born in America.
Okay, but you could also argue that certain people on the left are threats to the Constitution because they want to take away the Second Amendment.
Well, actually, the only
argument goes both ways.
The only president to infringe on the Second Amendment are rhetorically call for an infringement on the Second Amendment. In the last 3 presidency was Trump in his first term and Trump in his second term.
How?
How?
I would like to know how.
Oh, don't worry, buddy. I got you. In his first term, he passed a bump stock ban. Ultimately, SCOTUS ruled that was unconstitutional and an infringement on the Second Amendment. And in his second term, around 3 months ago, he directed his DOJ to try to find a way to ban any and all gun ownership for all law-abiding trans-American citizens. That was such a large threat to the Second Amendment that even the far-right NRA that you probably love publicly spoke out against the Trump administration and called that a call for the termination of the Second Amendment.
Wow. Thank you for clearing that up.
So now, Donald Trump isn't just a threat to the 14th Amendment, but he's also a threat to the Second Amendment.
I still support him over the past presidents, though.
Well, precisely. So then that means that you don't really care about the fact that he's a threat to the Constitution. You don't care about the fact that he's a threat to the rule of law. But then you care so much about undocumented immigrants breaking a single federal misdemeanor.
No,
they want to
I do
strip their
not
humanity
care.
away, strip their legal protections away, and deport them illegally with no due process to a center for terrorists in El Salvador where they're beat, tortured, and starved, like Abrigo Garcia was after he was illegally removed by the Trump administration.
Hey, listen, man, I'm no John. I'm not going to sit up here and say I'm racist. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do all that. That was crazy, okay? That was crazy. I think we all agree in this live. We all agreed that was crazy, okay?
Bro.
Look, man.
All right, let's really get to the nitty-gritty of it. Trump supports Israel, and he just gave $650 million more. So that's why we should be supporting Trump. Why are we supporting him based on, what did you say, gun rights?
Dude, why are you coming at me?
How would you feel
Are
about...
you not pro-Israel?
Hey, Brayden.
Why Israel?
Yo, listen.
Just gave the greatest ally in the Middle East.
I'm gonna refocus away from you to Brayden for a second here, Caleb. Caleb, got a question. Are you pro-life like Caleb is, Brayden?
What?
Are you pro-life like Caleb is, Brayden?
What is pro-life?
Okay.
Like,
Of course,
I want people to
Zionist doesn't
live?
know what that
Yeah.
means. Like, you think it's like murder for a woman to go get an abortion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. So then how do you feel about Donald Trump giving $650 million to Planned Parenthood to kill more children?
All I care is that he's giving money to our greatest ally in the Middle East.
Yeah,
That's
just
it.
answer my question, please. How would you feel if Donald Trump were to give $650 million to Planned Parenthood to kill more innocent children?
That doesn't change my mind. He's giving money to our The best country in the
I'm
world.
not asking you if that changes your mind.
Israel.
I'm asking you how you would feel if you were to do that.
I wouldn't change my mind on him positively or negatively.
Wait, so
As
you
long as
would,
he keeps getting money to Israel, we're good.
okay, so if Donald Trump were
As
to
long as I keep getting that 7 bands.
so if Donald Trump were to reinstitute slavery in America, would you still support him if he was still giving more money to Israel?
No.
No, okay. So obviously, you know
As
what
long
Donald
as
Trump
I
does
keep getting
doesn't
7
matter.
bands a month, I'm
Seven
good.
bands a month?
Yeah.
From where?
I mean, we don't gotta disclose that, but you know,
Okay, Braden's trolling. Caleb,
7 bands.
you're the only Trump supporter on the live. He was making a joke that he's paid by Israel. Just back to you, Caleb. Take it away. I would really love to hear a response from yourself to the specific points that I brought up to demonstrate that Donald Trump is a threat to the rule of law, a threat to the Constitution, a threat to the American way, and how I think that you're a hypocrite for caring about undocumented immigrants and their misdemeanor, but not caring about Donald Trump and his infringements on the Constitution, his 34 felonies, and his adjudication.
Never said I don't care. I didn't know.
Okay, well now you
I
do
didn't
So
know about the Second Amendment thing. So
okay,
thank
no
you
worries.
for informing me.
Yeah,
really.
of course, man. So at this point in time, do you still support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Okay, why?
Okay, let's see. He rejects the left's woke ideology
Okay, so
that is poisoning our society and our morals.
okay, I want you to give me a very clear and clean cut example of the left's quote unquote woke ideology that is poisoning society and our collective morals.
Like John said, the drag race, the drag shows, the popularization of transgenderism, open homosexuality, and all of this is immoral. It is wrong.
Okay,
Completely
so first
wrong.
and foremost, transgenderism isn't a word. Your lack of a third grade education is completely wrong. Second of all, drag individuals
is a
aren't
word.
necessarily trans.
Okay.
And then third of all, you said there's something wrong with being openly non-straight. Now we have to use the phrase non-straight on TikTok, or else we'll get flagged for hate speech. So why is it wrong to be
Okay.
openly non-straight?
Because it is against God's word.
God's word. So where in the Bible does it say it's wrong to be openly non-straight?
Thou shalt not lie with men, like lying with, like sodomy. All of these words, it's wrong.
So
It
first and foremost,
literally says-
that's the action of engaging in non-straight intercourse, and that's an argument I could refute as well. But this is a linear dialogue, so we're just going to begin with a conversation surrounding why you think it's wrong to be non-straight. So being non-straight would be to possess same-gendered attractions, and possessing same-gendered attractions is different than engaging in same-gender intercourse. So what is the biblical justification that it is wrong to possess same-gendered attractions?
Man shall not lie with man, woman shall not lie with woman.
Do you know what verse in the
Woman-
Bible that's in?
I do not have, dude. I don't have the whole Bible memorized. I know that is a verse though.
I do. I know. So that's either Leviticus 18:22 or Leviticus 20:13. So are you telling me
Okay.
that the moral code described in the book of Leviticus is accurate and true today?
No, not all of it. Obviously not. Obviously not all of it. The world has changed, and Jesus came.
So
you know,
why would you say that some of the morality described in Leviticus is accurate, but some other principles of morality described in Leviticus aren't accurate? How do you determine what moral teachings inside of the book of Leviticus are and are not accurate?
Because let's see, women no longer have to leave the camp if they are on their time of the month and have to lay there unclean for however long. That's not true anymore. You know what I'm saying? That's not a thing.
So you're not answering my question. I'm asking you, what is the framework that you use to determine what moral teachings in Leviticus are accurate and what moral teachings in Leviticus are inaccurate?
If it matches up with how Jesus taught and how the apostles.
So basically, if Jesus said something opposite or contrary to what was said in Leviticus, then it's no longer true.
I feel you're about to refute me pretty big here.
Yeah,
So,
I am, because if we want to,
You got something coming. You got something coming.
If we want to trust your framework here, well, then therefore, because Leviticus 45 verses 44 through 46, Leviticus 25 verses 44 through 46 say that slavery is okay, and nowhere
Absolutely
in the New
right.
Testament does it What?
I'm saying that's true. I'm saying that's true. Like it's not slavery is not okay, but Leviticus says it is.
Okay,
I'm
you're
saying
just
you're
affirming
correct.
that Leviticus
You're
says it
correct.
is.
Yes.
And
Yes,
because
absolutely.
nowhere in the New Testament, nowhere in the Gospel does it explicitly say that slavery is not okay. Therefore, in accordance with the argument, if it's wrong to be gay, then it's right to own slaves.
No, that is not how you should be taking this at
How
all.
so?
Because enslaving, okay, first of all, nobody should serve anybody except God. Nobody should kneel at anybody's feet except at the foot of God.
That's not what God said.
Isn't it though?
No. Leviticus 25, 44 through 46, God says that you may get your male and your female slaves from the countries around you. However, you can't enslave one of your own. He basically told the Israelites that they could enslave people that aren't Israelites. It even explicitly said that they may own them as human property for life and even bequeath them as property to their children when they die. So,
Okay.
once again,
But may I remind you
once
that
again,
back then
your
slaves
argument
were
is
normalized. Right? Slaves were part of life back then. Am I wrong? Slaves were
yeah,
an inherent part of their
you're
culture.
super wrong because what happens in Exodus?
The Israelites were slaves.
Yeah, and what did God do?
He helped them escape.
Yeah, he unleashed 7 plagues and famines on their enslavers to eradicate and kill them all to ensure that they weren't victims of slavery. So if your argument is that God was saying that slavery was okay because slavery was normal, then why the hell would he kill the Egyptians by unleashing 7 plagues and famines on them if he was
Because that's
okay
what
with
you
it
get
because
for
it
not
was
believing
normal?
in God. Because they didn't believe in God.
Okay,
They didn't believe in him.
So the argument is that he didn't unleash those plagues and famines because his people were enslaved, but rather because the enslavers didn't believe in God. So you think that it's worse to be an atheist than to be an enslaver?
It's good question. Okay. I probably should have gotten more sleep last night. So to be an atheist is it doesn't get you anywhere after life. Okay. To be an enslaver, you can, at the end of your life, confess your sin and be forgiven. But to be an atheist, unless you turn to God, then by some people's beliefs, you go to hell.
So your statement is maybe it is worse to be an atheist than to own slaves. So in
Yeah,
America, being an atheist is legal. Being a slave owner is illegal. Do you take problem
right.
with that?
No,
But I thought that being atheist was worse, and it's the only one of the 2 options that's legal to do.
because America stands for freedom of religion, tolerance. You can do whatever you want.
Wait, no, but now you're saying
That's
that,
their
but now you're
problem.
saying
That's
a freedom to be or to do something that is worse than owning slaves is something that you agree with?
because it's not worse for society or worse for other people. It's just worse for that person. Whatever they do to themselves is their problem. Okay.
Okay, so now I
Does
think
that
that
make
we're
sense?
now I think that we're equivocating on the way that we're using the term worse here. So you're arguing that it's worse for an individual to be an atheist than to own slaves, but only for themselves, not for
In
others.
God's eyes. In God's eyes, but
In
only if
God's
they,
eyes.
you know,
Okay.
repent their sins. If they repent their sins about
Okay.
being an
Wait,
enslaver or
is God
whatever.
always right?
You know what I'm saying?
Is God always right?
Is God always right? Yes.
So, so,
God is always right.
so therefore, whatever is true of God's eyes should also be true of your eyes.
Absolutely.
So, if it is true in God's eyes that it is worse to be an atheist than to own slaves, that should also be true of your eyes. So, you would argue that we should all think it's worse to be an atheist than to own slaves. So, if we should all think that it's worse to be an atheist than to own slaves, then we should all reject a system in which criminalizes owning slaves, but does not criminalize being an atheist.
But is everybody in America Christian?
No, what you would argue is worse than
And the church is separated from the state.
what you would argue is
Correct?
worse than everybody in America not owning slaves.
That's just for me. That's my opinion. It doesn't mean it has to be a law.
Yeah, that's
If it was
fucking
a law,
that's fucking
you know,
crazy. That's crazy, dude. Would you ever vote for an atheist to be president, a non-Christian to be president?
Maybe if I honestly do think I would, but
Would you ever vote for a gay person to be president?
no, I don't believe I would. No,
But I thought that we just agreed that it's worse to be an atheist than to be gay, or to own slaves, or to like do anything that you think is a sin.
because atheists can still have
Oh,
a good moral compass.
wait.
To be
wait,
non-straight means that your moral compass is off.
Oh, wait. So first and foremost, you just refuted this logic. You're turning it around. You said that it's literally worse to be an atheist and to reject God, right, than to be gay.
I didn't say you
or
couldn't
to
have
own
good morals.
slaves, right? So therefore, why would we argue here that you can be an atheist and possess good morals, but you can't be gay and possess good morals?
Because being non-straight means that you go against biology just for some attraction that has no real use in society. There is no use for it.
Well, come on. What's worse, under your view, going against biology or going against God?
Going against God is worse.
Okay, and from your view, comparing
In
a gay
the
person to an
spiritual
atheist.
world.
One moment. From your view, comparing a gay person to a straight to a straight atheist person, which one is going against biology and which one is going against God?
Gay would be going against, or
Biology.
non-straight would be going against biology, and atheist would be going against God.
Right. So then therefore you'd
Okay,
argue that
so-
the atheist would have a worse moral code than the gay person. Also, by the way, it doesn't go against biology to be gay. In fact, our biology explains
It
why
does.
we are gay.
So can two men have children?
Can two men have children? Assuming your definition of a man, absolutely not. Like
Exactly.
Like
So what-
anal intercourse won't lead to children. That's what I mean to say.
Absolutely. You're correct. So why would you say that it's not wrong? Why would you say that it's not, it doesn't go against biology? Why would you say it doesn't?
For the same reason that you'd argue it's not wrong for your parents to engage in sex. If your mom is over the age of 60, she's likely infertile due to going through menopause. They can't have kids. You don't think it's wrong?
No, because
Oh.
man shall not lie with man, woman shall not lie with woman. But man,
Yeah, well, I mean we've
lie-
we've
man
already
shall
disputed.
lie with
So
woman.
we've already
Okay.
disputed that verse, right? In arguing that we should accept the moral teachings of the Book of Leviticus and the Christian Bible, you're also, in virtue of that fact, arguing that we should accept slavery because Leviticus 25 verses 44 through 46 say that slavery is okay.
So sex for pleasure is
Also, I just once again honestly, I should have called this out, and I'm going to call it out now. Engaging in gay sex is not identical to being gay. Being gay is possessing attractions to the same gender, not engaging in sex with the same gender. So why specifically is it wrong to possess the attractions?
because it means that you want the sex. And
Is that you
lust
wait.
is also a sin.
Wait. But lust isn't a sin just for like gay people. It would also be a sin for straight people. So that's not going to be
You're right.
specifically entailing
But
that therefore it's wrong
worse.
to be gay, or else it would also entail that it's wrong to be straight.
All right. So you're going in circles around my point.
I am.
point
I'm
is-
absolutely sending your point in circles because if you want to argue here that like lust is wrong, gay people can lust, therefore being gay is wrong, straight people can lust, therefore being straight's wrong. All right, and you're about
No.
to say that one is worse than the other. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that one sin is worse than the other sin outside of blasphemy. So you're already arguing from a a non-Christian perspective.
So straight. Okay. So let's say you're a straight person and you lust for somebody. Okay. That is a sin. To lust for somebody is a sin.
Okay, but it doesn't make being
if you-
straight wrong. So then why does it make being gay wrong?
Because being gay is wrong.
Why? Why are same-gendered attractions wrong?
Because it goes against how God made man and woman.
That's
It
just not
goes
true.
against. Yes, it does. Yes, it is.
I can
It is- it
explain
is
to you how that's not true.
1000% true.
I can explain to you how that's not true. Did
I
God
would love
design
for
you
you
in
to
your
try
mother's
that.
womb?
Yes.
Okay, so therefore God designed gay people in their mother's womb too, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
Do you
and-
believe you're,
okay,
you're
sure.
gay? So you
So you
believe
just
you're gay
argued-
from the moment you're born?
I believe that individuals are born with biological predispositions to be gay, the same way that I was born with the biological
Okay.
predispositions to be 5'9". And we know this is a scientific fact because when we look at the science on the subject matter, what we see is that gay men have a larger anterior commissure in the context of the human brain, which is the nerve lining between the two hemispheres of their brains, that is a biological predisposition to be gay. B, they also have various associations along the genetic code that straight men don't typically have, such as an association along the XQ23 chromosome that is a biological predisposition to be gay. Gay men also have variant traits of the AI-NEH3 subsection of the hypothalamus, such as different dendritic densities, different neuronic activity, and different levels of particular neurohormones, such as FSH. Those are all biological predispositions to be gay. Therefore, because these biological predispositions are hard-coded into us from birth, and God designed us all, including gay people, inside of the womb. And by the way, he's a perfect designer. Not only did God design people to be gay, but he also did so perfectly. Therefore, being gay is perfect, if you accept that God is a perfect, benevolent, all-powerful designer.
So, but by your argument, if he's a perfect, all-powerful, benevolent designer, then didn't he design us to sin? No, that is Satan, the devil, or evil temptation, right? Tempting us to go against God's word to keep us for him.
Well, actually, God designed us with the ability to sin. God designed us with free will. Okay,
and God did,
right?
Exactly,
right? Because we're talking about the biological preconditions that God made, and these biological preconditions include what makes people gay, not what makes people allow to have the choice to be gay. Because being gay is not a choice, but literally the biological predispositions that make them gay, very similar to the biological predispositions that I possess that made me 5'9", that made my eyes blue or my hair blonde.
Okay, well, the biological predispositions to being gay can be resisted, unlike your blue eyes and your blonde hair and your white skin.
No,
you know what I'm saying? You can't change that.
You can't stop being gay.
Change.
You can't stop being
gay.
Yes,
you can. Yes, you can.
No, because that implies that our sexual orientation is a choice. Okay, which it's not.
It is.
Okay,
it
can
is
you
1,000%.
choose? Okay, does this mean that you could choose to be attracted to me right now?
Yeah, I mean, eventually, sure. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want to.
So I want you to prove that to us. So what I want you to do is I very quickly want you to choose to be attracted to me, verify this with evidence by telling me that you're attracted to me, but then quickly choose
But I'm
back.
not.
But then quickly choose back.
That's not how.
What's that? You're starting to cut out.
Sorry, I cut out for a second. That's not how it works. See,
so it's not a choice.
Your environment around you, the people around you, and the things you do growing up, the things you read, the things you watch, and all that, they influence you. They influence you. If you read the Bible growing up, and if you go to church, or if you don't go to church,
this is also, by the way, another false argument, because your environment cannot influence the size of the anterior commissure in your brain, yet gay men have a larger one. Your environment cannot influence associations on your genetic code, yet gay men have an association on the XQ23 chromosome. But, even if they could, this would still imply that it's not a choice, right? Like, for instance, people that live in towns with steel mills in them live significantly shorter lives on average because of the pollutants in that city's air. Now, that was their environment influencing them. Now, did they choose to live a shorter lifespan because of the pollutants in the air in the area? Absolutely not, because rather their environment forced it on them. So if you're arguing that one's environment would determine their sexual orientation, then you're still arguing that people can't choose their sexual orientation, as it is rather forced onto them by their environment. But still yet, it is not true that your environment can impact your sexual orientation, else all of the scientific facts surrounding the biological predispositions that I've already gone over 3 times with you are things that we wouldn't expect to see. Not going to church doesn't change your neuroanatomy. Okay? Not being Christian doesn't change the associations on your genetic code. Yet we see these dispositions to be true of gay people and false of straight people. How do you explain that?
So your environment, I include your environment not only as, the air, the things around you, but the people around you, the things you watch, the things you do, all of that.
But those things can't impact your anterior commissure or genetic associations. So
that doesn't matter. It can impact your will.
Well,
can,
it
can
does.
change
It
your
does
mind,
matter
it can
because
impact your
why,
free will.
it does matter because then why do we see these associations in gay men that we don't see in straight men if it's all environmentally driven and environment can't change these
I didn't
things?
say it was all environmentally driven. If you say, if I take your word for granted here, and we do have true genetic
God.
predispositions to being gay, okay, no, you don't need to scoff at me. It's okay.
Well, I am
And
scoffing
if
at
we
you
do have,
because you're wrong, and I feel like you should know it. I feel like I'm like very obviously describing to you why you're wrong. An environment is what you are attributing to the cause of being gay, while also accepting that an environment cannot onset these biological predispositions that are dimorphic
according to
amongst
you-
individuals with different sexual orientations, like the size of your anterior commissure, like the traits and size of your AINH3 subsection of your hypothalamus, or like the associations along your genetic code. Your hypothesis is strictly disproven by the scientific evidence that we know has proven to suggest these dimorphic traits of the human genome, of the human neuroanatomy, and biology as a whole, that are true of gay people and false of straight people. You cannot explain your hypothesis, or sorry, justify your hypothesis in knowledge of these facts of the dimorphism of the biology of straight people compared to gay people. You can't.
so but you said yourself that we have free will, correct?
Yeah, but guess what? Free will can't change your genetic associations, like free will can't change the color of your eyes.
You're right. But
There's
being
no
gay-
explanation. There's no explanation.
I don't see
that you
how
have.
you liken. I don't see how you liken being gay to having blue eyes. That is not in. There's no possible way it is that inherent to your being.
And the only reason
your
why
genetic code.
and the only reason that you make that argument is because you're a homophobic bigot who doesn't care about reality, doesn't care about what the facts are, doesn't care about
I
what the
would like to
evidence
point this
suggests,
out.
but just cares about what you were told growing up inside of a incredibly conservative echo chamber.
So here,
How
I
can
would
you
like
sit,
to-
how can you sit here and tell me that there's no possible way that the science would onset your sexual orientation when that our biology would onset our sexual orientation when that's what the science tells us, and the science contradicts any hypothesis that you've set forth insofar as what you think decides our sexual orientations? What is your evidence that being gay is a choice? What is your evidence that being gay is onset by your environment? What is your evidence that you're right? Because I've given you evidence all fucking day long. I've given you so many different data points. I could give you study after consensus after consensus. What can you give me?
What can I give you? My own experience, buddy.
What does that mean?
All right. I don't even care who's in this live. I don't care. I came out as bisexual in senior year, last year. Okay. I had a boyfriend.
Oh boy.
You asked for more ways to create, so we made a major update. Sleeve printing is now.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is this is the
So,
way it goes most of the time.
No, just listen to me, okay? Just listen. So I eventually him and I broke up and high school ended, right? So I started to get closer to my faith back in October and I read the Bible more, I prayed more. I realized that for me to be that way is wrong. And I am not that way anymore. I completely repent of that sin and I am completely straight.
Yeah.
No other, I have a girl I'm talking to, okay? I've had girlfriends since then. That's it. And I can tell you that the people around me, the people I was hanging out with at the time, the things I was watching at the time, they all pressured me to get with him, to explore this part of myself that I should just not have given into that temptation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it actually does. It makes perfect sense. I am no longer mad at you. I just feel bad for you. Because from my
Okay.
perspective, as a straight man, I'm just going to throw on mute because there's a little bit of background noise. From my perspective, as a straight man, the concept of changing my sexual attraction is just as alien as ET. Because it's something that I know I can't do. It's something that I know I couldn't achieve if I tried. Okay? But from your perspective, you see things differently. You are not a straight man, you are a bi man. And being a bi man, that means that you are attracted to both men and women. And what you've experienced in the last year, 2 years, is a pressure to subjugate yourself to a suppression of your attractions towards men. And you are confusing a choice to suppress your same-gendered attractions as a choice to only be attracted to women. And that is very easy to confuse because they seem quite similar to one another, but they aren't. A choice to suppress your same-sex attractions is not the same as a choice to only be attracted to women. Now, this is why study after study after study after study has demonstrated time and time and time again that closeted gay men are more likely to be homophobic than straight men. It's because it makes that confusion easier. And,
so you think
I'm sorry that you're going through this. I'm really not trying to be an asshole here. This has now just completely shifted my perspective from like wanting to get real angry at you because of what you believe to instead wanting to help guide you towards the truth and help you overcome this confusion that you're experiencing onset by heteronormativity. It's all too often we hear from guests on this live stream that the issue is a push for people to be gay, that the issue is a push for people to be a member of the LGBTQ plus community, an issue to indoctrinate our youth into boys liking boys, girls liking girls, men liking men, and women liking women, when in all reality, the real issue, right, is heteronormativity, which is a push for people to be straight and a push for bi men, like this guest, to suppress their same gendered attractions, which they then confuse as an intentional and conscious choice to be straight.
So I don't agree with you on the fact that you're saying that the problem is the pressure for a heteronormal society. Okay, I don't think that is the problem. I believe the problem is the push for more LGBTQ plus members in the society. I believe that is the problem.
The push.
They're normalizing.
All the pushes from the LGBTQ plus community, people on the left, gay people, bi people, lesbian people, allies like myself, is just simply, right, a push for you, right, feeling confident in being you. Is a push for you feeling allowed to express yourself the way that you were made and the way that you can't change. Okay? That's it. That's it. That's what it boils down to.
So what do you think I should do as me? What is your opinion on what I should do?
I think that you should accept yourself for who you are, because who you are is not a demon. Who you are is not immoral. Who you are is not regressive to society, but rather progressive in a positive direction. There's a lot of social and even evolutionary advantages towards being bi, being not straight. That's why we see in our closest genetic relative, the babonos, an emergence of homosexuality over the course of the last 50,000 years, because it serves the evolutionary purpose of social advantage, which is important in the hierarchy structure of society, which is where survival of the fittest has been pushing towards since the culmination and creation of society. Interestingly enough, and I think that you shouldn't be scared to love who you love and to be with who you want to be with. As long as it is inside of a consensual adult relationship, right? It's not wrong to explore who you are inside of these relative bounds, and it's also not wrong to explore your faith Because there's many people who are Christian. There's many people who serve Christ, and there's many churches that will teach his preachings that will accept you for who you are.
So I don't know if you can hear me clearly or not. I am driving right now. I believe that I was wrong, that it was truly temptation that led me to do that. That is my belief, and I accept myself for who I am. And I am no longer who I was back then, because, you know, people do change. It is possible to change.
Hey, sir.
Now, you may not
Sir.
agree when I say I
Sir.
can change from
I'm
being
sorry.
bi to being straight.
I'm sorry, sir. You cannot be driving on TikTok Live. Unfortunately, unless you could pull over or something, I'm gonna have to move on.
No, I'm riding. No, I'm not driving. I'm riding, but like I'm saying, we're driving down the road.
Oh, like you're in the passenger seat?
You want me to turn my camera on? Yeah, I'm in the passenger seat. Do you want me to verify that by turning my camera on and showing you? Or?
I trust you. I trust you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not actually driving while doing it. Like, that would be stupid. I wouldn't be able to concentrate. Like I said, you may not believe me when I say that, you know, I can change from being bi to being straight, but I believe that I was never truly bisexual. I was just led to believe that by the temptations that I felt, the people who told me to feel this way, and the, you know, Satan getting in my mind thinking that it was okay. And that is my belief, you know. And one thing I would like to make clear to you is that everybody can have their own opinions, and you do not have to get angry about their opinions. Okay, you do not have to feel any kind of way,
Dean Withers.
because opinions don't hurt you.
Here's the thing. Your opinion is harmful. Your opinion drives people to self-unaliving. Your opinion causes individuals to suppress a part of themselves that shouldn't be that shouldn't be suppressed, and you're an example. You know, last thing I'll add on here is that your opinion has already been tried and proven false, okay? Right? You're not the first, quote-unquote, ex-bi man, ex-gay man that has had this, quote-unquote, revelation that your sexual attractions are a choice and onset by your environment and can be changed by a different environment. And in fact, this was the fad, this was the normal, this was what was promoted in America from the 60s towards early 2000s with the emergence of convergence therapies. And all of these, you know, sorry, not convergent. What are they called? Y'all gotta help me out here. It's very close to the word convergent therapy. It's just, I know the word's not convergent. I'm gonna wait for the chat to, I'm just having a brain fart here. I'm having a real big brain fart on what the name of the therapy
Convulsion?
is. It's a therapy, conversion. Wait, no, it is conversion. No, I am right. There you go. I am right. It is conversion therapy. I don't know why I thought I was wrong. I don't know. I just, the conversion, I don't know. Brain fart. Anyways, continuing on with what I'm saying here. So anyways, to get back to what I was saying, you know, your idea here has been tested and tried and proven false. You know, this was a fad. This was the normal. You know, conversion therapies were big in America from the 1960s until early 2000. And every single one of these large conversion therapies that told men such as yourself that if you're struggling with same-sex attractions, you could come to this therapy and we'll make you straight, were actually ran by men such as yourself that claim to be a bi men and ex-gay men, and it worked on them, and they'll do it on somebody else too. And the thing is that these conversion therapies showed absolutely no efficacy, and the leaders and owners and runners of all of the largest conversion therapies in America, such as Exodus International, all inevitably ended up shutting their doors, telling the world that they still have same-sex attractions, telling the world that the conversion therapies didn't work, and apologized to their crimes of horror against the LGBTQ plus community. So because of the generations of men and women that have come before you, that have been a lot like you, claiming same-sex attractions, quote-unquote turning to the Lord, then becoming straight, then turning around and selling that same service to others for a profit, because they've all came to the same unanimous and univocal conclusion, which is that their therapy didn't work on themselves or anybody that they served, and that they apologize for their high crimes against the LGBTQ plus community. I think it's time that at the bare minimum, you wake up to that fact and you realize that you were walking down a very dangerous path for yourself, a very dangerous path for others too, and that you're just simply wrong, and that it's okay to be who you are, and it's just a fact of yourself that you can't change. Okay? These are horrible crimes against good people.
I would like to tell you the same thing. You can be wrong and it still be okay. And, you know, it's, you can be who you are. I can be who I am. And my beliefs cannot be, my opinion, having an opinion cannot be harmful. If it is harmful to somebody, it is their mental process that is the problem. It is their being that is the problem.
That's just not true.
So you reference somebody self-unaliving, right?
Opinions
Me saying something
opinions
is not.
Opinions in a society create the structure in which that society operates under. I mean, that's just direct democracy 101 for you. So
Right,
because the opinions in a society create the structure under which the society is run, that's where we get structures from that tell black people they can't shop in stores owned by white people. That's where we get structures that tell gay people that they can't apply for this job because they'll get rejected. That those opinions create structures in society that tell men that possess same-sex attractions that they are wrong, destined for hell, and that they need to go to this conversion therapy that will inevitably never work. Opinions can be very harmful, especially when they're untrue. And I think that it's important for us to predicate and base our opinions on the preponderance of fact and good reason. The only way for society to inevitably serve in the most benevolent way to the interests of the most people possible is when we try to track logic and track truth and be reasonable people. Being unreasonable is what led to slavery. Being unreasonable is what led to segregation. Being unreasonable is what led to the patriarchy. And being unreasonable is what has led to heteronormativity. This whole time, I've been giving you the data, the facts, and the reasons to dispute what you believe in and why. Every point that you've made, I've been able to combat with 5 reasons insofar as why it's wrong. And every point that you've made, I feel like it's only been predicated on your own emotional experiences compared to any legitimate form of reason or fact. And for that reason, I think it is clear that in this conversation, I'm right and you are wrong. And I hope that one day you're able to recognize that fact, not only for your own sake, but for the sake of many others. Right? I'm just going to be honest.
Thank you for the time, then.
If you don't change your mind, you are going to live a very miserable life. And hopefully, I would say that the likelihood that you change your mind at some point in the future is incredibly high. You know, I think that 50 years from now, we're going to be living in a very progressive society, much more progressive than it is today. 50 years from now, I mean, you're maybe 20, you're going to be around 70 years old. I'd argue by then, you know, there's a good 85 to 95% chance that you're going to realize Dean Withers was right all along. And, you know, all I'm trying to help you out here to do is to save yourself from as most of that misery and self-denial as possible by waking up to that fact sooner rather than later.
I have one question for you. This is on a completely unrelated subject. How old are you? I didn't hear if you've ever said.
Yeah, I'm 21.
Okay. Well, good for you for being so young and getting out here and showing your opinions and debating with people. That is I agree that debating is very productive. And I do support the fact that you do that. And that's why I joined.
Yeah.
So thank you for the time, the conversation. It was very intellectually engaging.
Yeah, you have a good rest of your day.
God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you.
Yeah, you too.
God bless you too, man. You know, I view that as a little bit less of a debate and more so just, you know, like a screaming wake-up call, man. But we're going to move on to the next guest right now, guys. Only up inside of the queue if you're an American adult that supports Donald Trump as president. We got a couple people to thank because you guys showed a bunch of love over on the Venmo and PayPal while I was talking to that last guest. I just, held off all the donations until the end because I really did want to focus on him. So we are going to go to get that next guest up right now, guys. Only hop inside of that queue if you're an American adult. If you're a Trump supporter and you want to debate me, please stay out of that queue if you're a troll. But in the meantime, there's a couple people that I'd like to thank, like Dylan. Thank you for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you for that love, Dylan. I want to see 200 Dylan W's for the $20. Dylan says, I'm bi, but it took me a long time to accept myself. But people like you make it easier, so thank you. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you for giving us your own testimony because I really want the last guest to hear that, you know? I really want the last guest to just be able to hear that.